Hi guys, it's me Chazza HD and welcome to the race reaction for the 2018 Russian Grand Prix. And guys, how are we doing after the race in Sochi, which ended about 45 minutes ago? Have we recovered from what was a not too bad Russian Grand Prix? I would rate that maybe as the best Russian Grand Prix we have had so far at Sochi, but it still wasn't that great, but hopefully you guys are doing well for this race reaction. Now, if you did somehow miss out on the 2018 Russian Grand Prix, don't worry, I have the results right here. So there you go. Lewis Hamilton wins from Valtteri Bottas in second. Sebastian Vettel is third. Lewis Hamilton now 50 points clear of Sebastian Vettel, and then Kimi Raikkonen fourth, Verstappen fifth, Ricciardo sixth, Charles Leclerc in P7, K-Mag in P8, Esteban Ocon in P9, and Sergio Perez in P10. Those are the point scorers, and then the cars finishing outside the points, not finishing in the points are Romain Grosjean P11, Hulkenberg 12th, Ericsson 13th, Alonso in 14th, 15th is Stroll, 16th is Van Dorn, 17th is Carlos Sainz, 18th is Sergei Sorokin, and your two retirements are Pierre Gasly and Brendan Hartley. But guys, we're just going to go straight onto the top three teams in this race reaction. First off, your race winners, Mercedes. Now, they didn't have as quick a car as I thought they would. I thought Mercedes would be flying out front and dominating this Grand Prix. They didn't dominate this Grand Prix in terms of pace, but of course they got the 1-2. That is all that matters. After what they did in qualifying, it was very likely they were going to get a 1-2 finish here. Lewis Hamilton winning the race, and even though of course Valtteri Bottas did deserve to win this race and, you know, let Hamilton through, Hamilton did earn his way up to the back of Valtteri Bottas, at least passing Sebastian Vettel brilliantly at turn 4 after Sebastian Vettel jumping Hamilton in the only round of pit stops, after Hamilton just about held off Vettel at the start of the race. And yeah, after that great move at turn 4, Lewis Hamilton then slowly but surely got up to the back of Bottas, and the Mercedes told Bottas to let Hamilton through. Now, I know this is causing controversy, but at the end of the day, it had to happen. They have to try and preserve and give Lewis Hamilton, you know, the best chance of winning the World Championship. Yes, Hamilton, even if he finished in P2, was maybe going to win it anyway. I get that, but in case by some miracle Vettel comes back because of retirements for Hamilton or something like that, they have to do this. They have to. I understand, you know, you can. I get the, you know, the criticism of, you know, oh, just let Valtteri win a race, but at the end of the day, you can't be nice when it comes to the front of the Formula 1 field. You have to be ruthless, and that's exactly what Mercedes were today. They were ruthless in getting Hamilton past Bottas, and I wouldn't say Hamilton deserved to win, but I think Mercedes as a team deserved thoroughly a 1-2 finish. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat about Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton. Daniel Dimov, ultimately I don't think he had a chance. Hamilton wasn't happy with his pit stop strategy, which is understandable, but unlike Vettel, sometimes he is willing to criticise his team, talking about how Vettel and Hamilton were competing. It's all over now. I think we can all agree. That's from Daniel Dimov again. Yeah, it's over. I think Lewis Hamilton will clearly take the title. Even if Vettel wins, you know, the next race and Hamilton doesn't finish, it's still a 25-point lead for Lewis. That's still a good lead for Lewis to have, and I don't think Mercedes are going to have any reliability issues going forward. Simon Cragland, I think the team order was ridiculous. I mean, Hamilton still would have gained 3 points on Vettel. I think it was too much from Mercedes. Mercedes are making more team orders than Ferrari. I completely agree with... Actually, no, I don't agree with what you're saying, but I see what you're saying. But at the end of the day, they have to give Hamilton as many points as possible to win the championship. Yes, you can say he would have gained 3 points anyway. Yes, he would have. But if Hamilton, by some miracle, loses the championship by 5 or 6 points, then, you know, the same people are going to be saying, oh, you know, why didn't you order Bottas to let Lewis through in Russia? It's the same, you know, you're going to be criticising that if that was to happen in the same way you'd be criticising this. So it had to happen. It absolutely had to happen. The championship is more important than, you know, this single race for Valtteri Bottas. And if Hamilton does win the title before the final race, I think Abu Dhabi, where Mercedes normally are very good and Bottas is good, I think Bottas will be pushed by Mercedes and Hamilton to win that race. Alejandro Barbosa, I am a Ferrari fan and I would like to see Valtteri win. He deserves it. Absolutely, absolutely. But what happened had to be done. Simon Cragland, I understand your point of view, but I think it's wrong. If Vettel was leading the race and Bottas was P2 and Hamilton was P3, then I would have understood if they had switched position. Again, I see your point, but if I was in Mercedes' shoes, I would have done exactly the same. What they did made complete sense. They gave Hamilton even more points and even more of an opportunity to win the championship. He's going to win it anyway, but they have to do it just in case. They have to do it. Rico Isaac, Max Verstappen did a good job today. He did. We'll get on to Red Bull very, very soon. I'll just look through the chat now to make sure I haven't missed anyone's comments. Right, I don't think I have. Right, I'll move on now, guys, to Ferrari. Now, Ferrari, in terms of race pace, weren't that bad. They weren't that bad. They were close enough to Mercedes during the race to cause them some issues when it comes to, you know, undercuts and overcuts during the pit stop phase. That's why Sebastian Vettel, with the undercut, got past Hamilton initially after the only round of pit stops. The race pace from Ferrari was good, but ultimately it was not good enough to beat Mercedes. They still did not have the pace of Mercedes. Vettel could not hold Hamilton back. Hamilton was super motivated to get past Sebastian Vettel and deservedly did so. And after that, because of Hamilton then being let into the lead by Valtteri Bottas, there was nothing Sebastian Vettel could do for the remainder of the race. There was nothing he could do because the dirty air on these cars is so much. He couldn't, you know, get close enough to Bottas for a serious overtake. So third it is for Vettel. And for me, his championship is over. And, well, that's down to him and the team, I'm afraid. They have made too many mistakes, team and driver, that has led to Lewis Hamilton now having a 50-point lead. And for Kimi Raikkonen, he didn't really have, in terms of fighting with other cars, that great of a Grand Prix. He was quick in the second stint of the race. He did set the fastest lap a few times, but yeah, this weekend he just wasn't really anywhere near his teammate or the team Mercedes. Very disappointing weekend for Ferrari. Suzuka has to be better, but I don't think it will, because Suzuka is absolutely a Mercedes track. So Ferrari, if they're going to win at Suzuka, need to pull out something special, because I think Mercedes will have the pace over Ferrari in Suzuka. Daniel Dimov, Ferrari still need to learn how to work as a team. Absolutely. Simon Craglan, pretty good move by Lewis. It was Simon Craglan. Ferrari struggling in Sector 3 all weekend, but Vettel made a mistake in Turn 13, and I think that gave Hamilton a pretty good run. Yeah. The final sector and the middle sector as well, the Ferrari just doesn't look good at all. Mercedes, I think now, when it comes to the aero and maybe the chassis, have a better car on that side of things compared to Ferrari. I think Ferrari still, with the power unit, have that slight advantage. It is slight. But in the corners, Mercedes do look a lot better than Ferrari at the moment. Ben McCarthy, they did all right on strategy for once. I will say for Ferrari, when it comes to strategy, I think they did all they could, really. They could have pitted on the same lap as Valtteri Bottas, but, you know, they can't get it right every single time. What they did was right in pitting Vettel before Hamilton. They got ahead, but after that, that's out for team's control. That's down to what's going on the racetrack. So, yeah, nothing Ferrari could do about that. Alejandro Barbosa, I think they can win in Suzuka, because Ferrari have been very quick on Mercedes circuits, for example, Shanghai, Canada and Silverstone. True, but Russia normally is a Mercedes circuit, and look at what Mercedes did this weekend. Absolutely trounced Ferrari. Daniel Dimov, but Vettel was also very aggressive down into turn 2. He moved twice. I almost thought they were going to crash. He did move twice, but I don't think it was worth a penalty. I think it was just about okay. It was hard racing. That's what racing is. But yeah, it was very close to an accident. Simon Cragland, I think Lewis will win in Japan. Right now, yep, I'd have to say he's going to win in Japan. He's very good at that track. So is Vettel, by the way, but with the car Hamilton has right now, I don't see how Vettel, in a head-to-head battle, can beat Lewis Hamilton. I don't see it at all. MG Hamilton offered the winner's trophy to Bottas, Shades of Austria 2002. I will say Hamilton, he isn't very happy with this victory because of the circumstances, but at the end of the day, this is going to lead to his 5th world title. So, you know, this is just one race of many. We're all going to forget about this time next week. So, this is just a minor incident in a much bigger picture, much bigger season. Simon Cragland, I'm really surprised that Mercedes was quicker than Ferrari this weekend. I wouldn't say I'm surprised that they were quicker. I'm more surprised how much quicker they were than Ferrari. I thought if Mercedes were quicker, it would be a 10th or 2, not half a second in qualifying. That was very surprising. Very surprising indeed. Ben McCarthy looks set to reign next weekend. If it does at Suzuka, then yeah, Hamilton will run away with that one. David Kim Baza, I think he says there, I think if you switch the roles, then Ferrari would have done the same thing for Seb. They would have. They would have, absolutely. It's not... I don't understand why people are criticising this, honestly. This is how F1 is. This is teamwork. This is, you know, the team and the championships are more important than one driver's singular race. So, I don't get why people are so up in arms about it. It's just team orders done well, in my opinion. Niblo, yeah, Typhoon's apparently in Japan next week. Okay, that could be a an interesting development. We'll see how that shapes out for the Japanese Grand Prix in a week's time. I'll read one more and then I'll go on to Red Bull. Daniel Dimov, I actually think Hamilton has a chance to equal Vettel's record of 13 wins in a season. I mean, something apparently changed in Ferrari. Half a second slower is just very weird. I think the reason Ferrari are half a second behind is, I can only think of two reasons. One, the Mercedes has improved aerodynamically, and I think aerodynamically is better than the Ferrari. And two, this is a Mercedes track. Look at the history. Mercedes have dominated this race. So it's not a massive surprise that they've won. It's a bit of a surprise how much they dominated in qualifying, but yeah, I think those two factors are why Mercedes beat Ferrari so comprehensively in qualifying and beat them so well in the race. But we'll move on from Ferrari and go on to Red Bull. Good race for Max Verstappen. He ended up driver of the day. By the way, we will get on to our driver of the days at the end of this race reaction. Max Verstappen, yeah, he was very, very good, especially in the early laps, getting past, you know, the Sauber of Marcus Ericsson, the Sauber of Charles Leclerc, the two Haas cars, the two Force Indias. Very good. Getting through the pack as quickly as possible and then going up towards the top four cars. Stayed out very long in this race. He didn't pit, I think, until, was it 10 laps or 9 laps before the end of the race, and then put on ultra soft tyres. It didn't work out in terms of trying to catch anyone, but I think Red Bull's aim for this race without a safety car was P5 and P6, and that's exactly what they got. For Daniel Ricciardo, I think with what happened in his race, he did all he could. Russia is not a good track for him. It never has been. It probably never will be. In the race, he wasn't too far off of Raikkonen, but then I think he picked up, in a very similar way to what happened in Paul Ricard, he picked up front wing damage or front wing debris off of the track and had to pit for a new front wing and get that fixed. So that obviously did not help, but at least he did finish in P6. So for Red Bull, a good race, pretty much as expected. Guys, what do you think about Red Bull? What did you think of their race in terms of pace? And what did you think of Max Verstappen? Niblo, we don't know how it happened yet. Agreed, but my initial reaction, again, I don't know yet either, but my initial reaction is that I think maybe something similar has happened. Tonka Toy Truck Leclerc was the surprise of the race and my driver of the day. Okay. Simon Cragler, Max Verstappen drove a brilliant race. He's such a good starter. His start to the race was brilliant. He went from P18, I think, P18, all the way up to, well, actually, was it last place? I can't remember exactly where he started because there were so many engine penalties for this race, but he was up in P11 at the end of the first lap. Very, very good by Max Verstappen. David Kimbaza, shame Red Bull had the penalties. They definitely would have been in the mix for a win. I'm not sure about a win, but I think Red Bull could have took a podium off of Ferrari. Ferrari just were not quick at all. Daniel Dimov, to me, Red Bull was a surprise this weekend. I did not expect them. I did not expect them to be that quick. Well, I mean, they weren't that competitive, but definitely more than expected, or more than you expected. I agree. I thought when it came to the pace of their car compared to Ferrari and Mercedes, I thought they would be at least a second off, because in Russia in 2017, they were almost 2 seconds off the pace, and Russia has never been good for Red Bull. But this weekend, their car was working well. So maybe Red Bull have finally found, I don't know, a good setup or just a good way around this Sochi track. Just looking at the chat for some more comments. Ronan Brady, it's overrated when someone drives from the back, as none of the midfield ever challenged them. They just let them by. I do disagree with drivers getting driver of the day because they've come from the back of the grid, like a Max Verstappen or Ricciardo or Hamilton. Because as you said, they're passing cars that are effectively letting them by because there's no point in fighting them. I don't understand this obsession with, oh, well, he came back from the back of the grid, so he has to get driver of the day. Well, no, because he passed cars that were 2 seconds a lap slower than him, so no. Yeah, not at all. Just looking at the chat for some more. I'm not surprised about Red Bull's pace, to be honest. The third sector suits their car. True, but again, given the history of them around this track, it was a bit of a surprise. Welcome back to Halam899, who's come into the chat. Right, we'll move on from Red Bull and now go on to the midfield. First off, McLaren. Wow, what a horrible weekend. This has to be down there with France as their worst weekend of 2018. Quite possibly one of their worst weekends, maybe in their history. They were so slow, so slow. They might have been possibly the worst team in qualifying with the pace of their car. In the race, they were competing with Williams in the race as well. I don't know what to say about McLaren. Again, I think I need to start giving them the Williams treatment and just not talk about them because they're becoming irrelevant. Who cares about McLaren anymore? They're so crap. There's no point even talking about them anymore. So guys, if you have any remaining, not necessarily comments, but obituaries about McLaren, then put it in the chat below before I move on to Renault, because I don't really want to discuss McLaren any further. There's nothing really to talk about. They're just dead slow. Serugara, McLaren's worst race this year was Germany. Now, I think this one was worse than that one. Daniel Dimov, nope, nothing to say. Ben McCarthy, their chassis is worse than this time last year. Absolutely. Halam899, we can fight. Oh dear, oh dear. Ronan Brady and McLaren have not produced any kind of car since 2012. Best chassis on the grid. McLaren need luck now to maintain their position from Force India. That's on Spider Monkey. I don't see them holding on to that position from Force India, but yeah, we'll move on from McLaren. They are now becoming irrelevant. How sad is that? How sad is that? Anyway, let's move on to Renault, who, when it comes to their strategy for this race, it was looking good because the soft tyre worked very, very well in this Grand Prix. They started on the soft tyre, the two Renault drivers, and for Hülkenberg, in the opening laps, it was looking good, but when he pitted for his only pit stop, he actually fell backwards because Romain Grosjean passed him during the final laps. So not a good end to the race there for Nico Hülkenberg. And for Carlos Sainz, I don't know what happened, but he just fell back all the way back. I think it was to 17th. I don't know what happened. I think he only made one pit stop. A really bad race for Sainz. Really bad. His race pace and his tyre wear must have been cataclysmic in comparison to other cars. But yeah, for Renault, this was such a poor weekend. This might be their worst race weekend of the season, up there, or down there, sorry, with Spa as their worst race weekend. Haas have now gained 4 points on them, so the gap is now 11 points in the Constructors in that battle for 4th. Renault are still holding on, but I don't see them holding on for much longer. If they continue like this, Renault are losing 4th for sure. Just looking at the chat. Feel sorry for Sainz going to Joker FC. If McLaren continue the way they're going, I think Sainz's career basically is going to be destroyed. Simon Craglan, what happened to Sainz? I don't know. I have to presume he had really bad tyre wear. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't know what happened. Just looking for some more stuff about Renault. Yep, Rip Norris too. That's from Halam899. Renault just didn't have the pace. That's from Simon Craigland. They were never going to have the pace. Coming into this weekend, I thought they would be clearly behind Haas and Force India, and they were. But I thought they would be, you know, maybe sneaking a car into the top 10 still in Q3, or for qualifying, sorry. And then in the race, maybe still scoring points, but not being as quick as Haas and Force India. But they were actually slightly worse because Sauber were faster than them in this Grand Prix and this Grand Prix weekend. So, yeah, Renault, they're just falling backwards. I don't know what's going on with Renault. Seirugara, Van Dorn was behind the Williams drivers in Germany. That says it all, really. True. Halam899, McLaren have to play the long game. Just looking at some more comments about Renault. Also, Haas didn't have a lot of pace themselves. That's from Halam899. True, but if you compare it to Renault, which is all that matters for Haas, they were way quicker than Renault. No doubt about it. Who is that? Miland Patkar says, I like Force India. Okay. Daniel Dimov. Hulkenberg was surprised a Red Bull was leading a race. I feel like this just proves how much more boring the race was for the rest of the teams. Yeah, I think after the first round and only round of pit stops for the majority of the teams around lap 20, the race just became boring because the teams settled in for the long haul for the rest of the race, trying to save their tyres and get to the end without destroying their tyres like I think Carlos Sainz did. So yeah, the race basically ended after the first round of pit stops and the only round of pit stops. But we'll move on from Renault and go on to Force India, who, in terms of scoring points for both cars, they achieved that. But the story of their race, as you can see on the screen, was the two drivers being stuck behind the Haas of Kevin Magnussen all race long. They will be disappointed they didn't get at least one car past K-Mag in the race. They really should have. K-Mag was struggling a lot in this race. So Force India will be, I guess, satisfied with a double points finish for both cars, considering Singapore was such a disaster. But because they were unable to pass Kevin Magnussen, they are going to be a bit disappointed, I think. So Force India could have had more in today's race, but at least they did score some points and gain on McLaren in the Constructors, only though by 3 points, not a massive amount of points gained. Okay race, that's from Halam899. Renault power unit is pretty slow even as a works team. He also says that. Yeah, the Renault power unit. The Renault power unit now, and after Honda bring their new great upgrade to Suzuka, Renault pretty much now have the slowest engine in F1 in terms of straight line speed. What a fall from grace for Renault after dominating the sport with Red Bull, in the early 2010s. Simon Craglan, Force India was quicker than Haas this weekend for sure. Haas have been quicker in qualifying than in the races this year. True. We'll get on to Haas very soon and discuss that. But yeah, Force India have always been good when it comes to race pace. They always have. I can't remember a time when they've had poor race pace and been great in qualifying. Normally in qualifying they're not, massively great, but then in the race they are consistent and get a good finish, and that's exactly what they got today. Ronan Brady, the Renault power unit has gone so bad recently. True. I think since Canada they just have fallen massively behind. Just looking at some more comments. Will you rank the driver performances over the course of the year at the end of the year? That's from Seiru Gara. When I do the season reviews for each team, then I will do, best race for this driver, worst race, what they need to improve upon, etc. Hallam899, McLaren made a mistake by leaving Honda and now Renault is last. Well, McLaren were a big part of that relationship with Honda going so badly because they didn't allow Honda to do what they needed to do to make their engine work within the McLaren car. Simon Cragland, Force India could have got P5 and P6 yesterday. They could have. But of course they didn't. I think if they reached their full potential yesterday, they would have. But of course, they didn't. Right, we'll move on from Force India and go on to Williams, who weren't awful in terms of pace. They were at least competitive with McLaren, and I think it was Carlos Sainz at the end of the race. So they weren't horrible, but Williams at the end of the day, they were actually quite a bit slower than I thought they would be, because you have to remember Sochi in the past has been a great track for Williams, but this weekend I think is proof that even at a track where Williams historically are good, their car aerodynamically and in terms of the chassis is so poor that it doesn't matter how good they are at a certain track. Their poor aero and chassis is going to drag them down so much. So poor there from Williams. We'll move on now to Toro Rosso. A double retirement in the opening couple of laps. I still have not heard what the issue was. From what it looked like, it looked as though it was some kind of, gearbox issue under braking, because normally if you have a gearbox issue in terms of changing down the gears, that will happen in terms of those spins. So I'm thinking maybe a gearbox problem, but I don't know for sure. If anyone does, then put it in the chat right now. But yeah, not good for Toro Rosso. But next up is Suzuka, which is basically now, because Honda are such a big part of the team, it's the team's home race. And given Honda and their upgrades that they brought to this race with their new power unit, they didn't continue with that new power unit for the rest of the weekend because there were a couple small issues which they're going to fix for Suzuka. But for next weekend, with the upgrade they have, Toro Rosso, you need to watch out for. They're going to be quick next weekend for sure. Let's see what some of you guys are saying about Toro Rosso and Honda as well. Simon Cragland, Hartley did the same in Spa where it just spins under braking. Indeed, in Spa though it was an issue. That's why I'm thinking it was some kind of, again, gearbox problem or something like that. Hallam899, Mercedes were half the reason why Williams was so good in Russia. True, but, Williams still have a Mercedes power unit, so it's not like they've changed to a Renault. Gasly said it was brakes. That's from Ronan Brady. Yeah, that'd make a bit of sense as well. But then again, for the brakes to fail that quickly, that's quite bad for the brakes to go so quickly. It's Williams. What more or less do you expect nowadays? Agreed. Williams are very poor, but they have made some slight progress in the last few races for sure. Let me just see if anyone has anything else to say about Toro Rosso. Simon Cragland, though, asks, did Lance Stroll have a good start again? I can't remember. I wasn't watching where Lance Stroll was. I don't think he did. He might have remained in the same position, but again, I don't think he did have a good start. Only 10 more. I'm assuming you're talking about subscribers. Again, guys, we are very, very close to 1,000 subscribers. If you have not subscribed, please do, either on the bottom right of the screen, or click on my channel name, or click on the link in the description that goes to my channel page, and subscribe to the channel. We are very close to 1,000. That'd be great to hit here on this Sunday. And if I do hit it before my next video, I just want to say, guys, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure doing these live streams and videos for you guys since I restarted basically the channel in mid-July. And I just want to say the support you guys have given me through the tough times, you know, through that copyright issue, which meant the shutdown of the old channel and the starting of this channel. I just want to say thank you guys so much for the support. It really does mean the world to me. I would not have been able to continue doing this without your support, so thank you guys so much, and hopefully we will be at 1,000 subscribers very soon. Hallam899, when was the last Honda car to win a race? The last race won by a Honda powered car was 2006. That was Jenson Button at the 2006 Hungarian Grand Prix. And that is the only race that Honda Power has won in the 21st century, I believe. I don't think BAR won a race as BAR. I think they won a race when they turned into Honda as a works team, but I don't think they did. So yeah, I think that's when that occurred. Thank you for the entertainment. That's from Spider Monkey. Thank you very much. Ronan Brady, why did you decide to start tubing or YouTubing? I don't really know why. I just decided, why not? You know, I love F1. Let's start uploading videos about it, and it worked a bit, and then I continued to improve, and it worked even more, and then I was like, you know what, let's try this out, and well, it's worked. Just looking at some more comments. I don't think anyone has anything else to say about Toro Rosso, so we will go on to Haas. Haas had a good qualifying in P5 and P9 for Magnussen and Grosjean, but in the race, their race pace was quite frankly horrible. Kevin Magnussen, yes, finished in 8th, but his pace at the start in the first stint, getting passed by Charles Leclerc on only the 2nd lap, and then being under pressure massively by the 2 Force Indias for the entire race, just proves that Haas, when it comes to qualifying, you know, they're exceptionally fast. But when it comes to the race, they have a lot of work to do to improve that side of things, because if they're going to beat Renault for 4th in the Constructors, they cannot afford to drop off so much in the race when it comes to tyre wear and, you know, stuff like that. They cannot afford to continue like this. And, well, compared to Renault, I guess you could say Haas had a good race. But it could have been more. It could have been more because, of course, Kevin Magnussen was faster than Leclerc in qualifying. But Leclerc dominantly beat him in the race. So, It could have been more if Haas actually had a good race car. But yeah, not great in terms of race pace from Haas. It actually reminds me of Mercedes back in about 2012 and 2013, where they would be very quick in qualifying, but in the race would be horrible when it came to tyre wear and race pace. That's basically the conundrum that Haas have right now. They have that one lap qualifying speed, but they don't have maybe enough speed to be at the front of the midfield in the races right now. So Haas do have to improve that, but at least they scored more points than Renault. Let me just read some of these questions and comments. Simon Cragland, do you think K-Mag overperformed the car this weekend? I do. I think K-Mag did a superb job in qualifying P5. And in the race, you know, the Haas was really struggling when it came to tyre wear and just general race pace. And for him to settle down and hold on to that position from the two Force Indias, I think that just shows that K-Mag, as a driver, has now matured and is developing into an all-round good racing driver. So I think K-Mag this weekend has had a good weekend and has overperformed in that car. Chazza, do you think the move from K-Mag was a bit dirty towards Ocon in terms of defending, I guess you're talking about? It was close, it was aggressive, but it was not as aggressive as what Vettel did to Hamilton. So in my opinion, it was fair. It was hard racing again, but it was fair. Just looking at some more comments. K-Mag has carried Haas to 5th single-handedly. That's from Tonka Toy Truck. True. Haas, without K-Mag's consistency at times and good results, would be maybe behind McLaren, because Grosjean has been inconsistent. He has had good qualifying pace a lot of the time, but yeah, he's been very inconsistent. So I'm just reading some comments just to make sure I cover every single person's comment. I saw something about Grosjean that someone put. I'm trying to just find out who that was. Oh, that was Tonka Toy Truck saying Grosjean dropped the ball again. Agreed. There was one point, I think it was just before Grosjean pitted, where he was coming into the pits. He was so slow and has such bad tyre wear that it looked as though his car was broke, like he had a problem. He was going that slowly. It was like he gave up and was like, I have to come into the pits. I have to slow down. It was, yeah, it was weird. It was very weird. But yeah, no pace from Haas. From Romain Grosjean's side in today's race. But we'll move on from Haas and now go on to the last team, being Sauber. Marcus Ericsson, you can see there, he finished quite low down, but Charles Leclerc in P7, great drive, absolutely superb. The way he got past Magnussen at the start, going round the outside at turn 3, that is why he is at Ferrari for 2019 and will be Sebastian Vettel's teammate and maybe will be a candidate for winning the 2019 World Championship. Who knows? But I think for me, guys, and we might as well transition into driver of the day. I think Charles Leclerc was the driver of the day. I think he was. He was so fast. He was miles ahead of the Haas and the Force Indias cars that are faster than the Sauber. You can just see from where Ericsson was in terms of who has the faster car. Leclerc has massively outperformed that car this weekend, and I think if he can do that consistently in 2019, he really could have a great chance of winning the title. So guys, I guess, and alongside discussing Sauber's great pace this weekend, let's not forget that Sauber were very good this weekend in terms of pace, especially with Leclerc. I guess we will just transition into driver of the day. What are you going for, guys, as your driver of the day? Put in the chat right now, and then for the next 10 minutes, I will read out your comments and who you think is driver of the day. I am going for Charles Leclerc. He was superb today. Let's see what some of you guys think about that. Leclerc is my driver of the day as well. I cannot wait for him to out-qualify Vettel for the first time. That is going to be quite a sight. That's from Tonka Toy Truck. Say Regara goes Max Verstappen. Gamer Ben goes Max or Charles. Okay. Francisco says Leclerc driver of the day for sure. Just trying to make sure I cover everyone's driver of the day picks. Leclerc was driver of the day. Leclerc was amazing. Leclerc, Hallam899. Leclerc is like Kimi before he gone to McLaren, doing well at Sauber. True. Leclerc, that's from Spider Monkey. Nibble, Verstappen for me, the way he stormed through the field at the start was phenomenal. But Leclerc, a close second. I understand, but at the end of the day, Verstappen's car is what, 1.5 seconds a lap faster? So it was impressive, but not massively impressive, because again, the Red Bull is massively faster compared to those cars, and they were on favourable tyres compared to the Haas's and the Force Indias. Gina says K-Mag. K-Mag was maybe the driver of the day in qualifying, but not the race. Not the race at all. RD, how well do you think he will do against Vettel next season? If he doesn't succumb to the pressure, I would not be surprised if he beat Vettel in 2019 and challenged Hamilton very hard for the world title. I wouldn't be surprised. But again, we have to see whether he copes with that pressure. We don't know how he's going to cope until we see him in his first few races for the Scuderia. I'm just looking at my dashboard in a minute just to check my sub number, because I think, guys, I'm very close. Yep, I'm 2 subscribers away from 1,000 subs. Come on, guys, 2 subs away to the 111 people watching right now. Please, if you want to, of course, subscribe to the channel either on the bottom right of the screen, click on my channel name, or click on the link in the description to subscribe to the channel. Just 2 more and we will be at 1,000. Simon Cragland. Sauber was massively quicker than Haas in the race, really. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Ronan Brady, which driver change to you most disagree with for next year? Well, Stroll going to Force India, quite frankly. I disagree with that. I really don't agree with that. If that happens, of course. It hasn't been confirmed, but let's be honest. It's going to happen. It's basically confirmed. If it doesn't happen, it'll be a massive shock. So yeah, that's probably the one I disagree with the most. Oh, confirmed ones. Out of the confirmed ones, probably Giovinazzi. I think Ericsson deserved to stay at Sauber. I think he's been good this season. I think he's had quite an underrated 2018. I really do. I think Ericsson deserved another year at Sauber. Hallam899, if Charles becomes first driver in 2020, will Vettel leave Ferrari? If that does happen, then yeah. I think Vettel by maybe the end of 2020 or into 2021 will at least consider leaving Ferrari. But of course, we'll have to see what happens. Gina K-Mag deserves to be number 2 driver in one of the top teams. I wouldn't go that far. He's very good, but I wouldn't go that far. Seirugara, Kimi Raikkonen was fantastic in the race. He will celebrate with an ice cream. David Chimbaza, do you reckon Ferrari will give Leclerc the platform to challenge for the title? I think they will. I think they will handle Vettel and Leclerc the same way they handled Massa and Raikkonen, where they have equal status, but as soon as one of them has a clear advantage over the other in the championship and is going for the title a lot more than the other, I think then that driver who is behind will then have to support that lead driver. I think that's what they're going to go for. Apparently now 1 sub away from 1K. That is very good. Come on guys, 1 sub away from 1,000 subscribers. 999 we are currently on. Ronan Brady, Stroll or Maldonado. You know what? Maldonado, because at least he had pace. Halam 899 in 2022. Charles versus Max versus Ocon versus Norris could be amazing. It could be, but only if Max gets in a quick enough car and Ocon is actually in F1 and Norris hasn't had his career destroyed by McLaren. Because that's what I kind of see going forward for those teams, or for those drivers, sorry. Just looking at the chat for some more comments and questions. Make sure I include all of your guys' comments. I want to make sure I do that. Again, thank you for commenting on all of my videos and in the chat today and throughout the weekend. I think Simon Cragland said, will you miss Ericsson? I won't miss Ericsson, but I think he deserved to keep his seat. Again, I think he did deserve to keep his seat for 2019. I think he did enough. I mean, he's had, what, 4 points finishes in 2018? So, yeah. But guys, I think we'll end it there. It doesn't look like we're going to hit 1,000. I'll refresh it one more time right before I end. It doesn't look like we're going to hit 1,000 before the end of this stream, but who knows. But guys, before I go, I just want to remind you of the videos coming out tomorrow. If you're new to the channel, this is what is happening on the channel tomorrow. Tomorrow, between 4 and 5 PM UK time, will be the race review for the Russian Grand Prix. I'll cover all of, the key quotes and all of the stats and cover all the teams and how they did in the Russian Grand Prix. And then live at 6 PM UK time on a Monday evening, I will be doing my post-race Q&A live on the channel. I do that every Monday after a race weekend on a Monday evening. And it's basically a 45 minute Q&A where you guys can ask me questions and I'll answer and have some fun with it for, again, 45 minutes. So hopefully you guys can come along for that and we can interact once again with each other. But guys, thank you so much for this weekend. I'm going to refresh now to just see if I have got 1K. It still says on my screen 999 subs. There's a couple of people saying 1K. On mine it still says 999. Let me refresh it again. Now I've got to 1,000 subscribers. I'm now 1,001. Guys, thank you so much. Honestly, it means so much. It's been a hard road, starting the new channel. I really didn't want to. I really wanted to hold on to the other channel because obviously we had 5K subs. But what we did was, I think we made the right decision going forward for the channel. We are now at 1,001 subscribers. It's took, 2 months to go from 0 to 1,000 subs. That is brilliant. And hopefully, guys, by the end of 2018, maybe we can be at 2K or 3K or 4K. Who knows? Hopefully I can build on this and we can further grow this community going forward. I just want to say though, guys, again, thank you guys so much. Without your support, I don't think, one, I would have been, of course, at 1,000 subs, and also, I don't think I would have continued after the copyright issues. So thank you guys so much for the support. If you weren't there for me, then yeah, this live stream wouldn't be happening. This channel would not exist. So thank you guys so much. But guys, again, if you're new to the channel, please do not forget to subscribe. We have just hit 1K. Thank you guys so much. Either on the bottom right of the screen, or click on my channel name, or click on the link in the description that goes to my channel page to add to the now 1,000 people subscribed to my channel, ChazzaHDF1 as well. Don't forget to like this video and comment down below what you thought of the Russian Grand Prix. As well, don't forget to join our Discord server where we have just over 70 people on that server. Join the wonderful community over there. We do have a growing community there also. As well, on Twitter, don't forget to follow me over there to keep up to date with what I'm doing and when I'm uploading videos. And check out my website, chazzahd.com, again, to keep up to date with what I am doing. But guys, again, thank you for 1,000 subs. But until tomorrow for the live stream Q&A and for the race review for the Russian Grand Prix, I will see you tomorrow on Monday. Thank you all.